G'day everyone and welcome to Shooting the Shit Uncensored on Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance. I am Piers Austin. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm joined by my co-host, Christy Black Adams. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And
Anytime.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure to announce our guest. He is a former CZW Junior Heavyweight Champion, former CZW World Heavyweight Champion, former CZW Tag Team Champion, former Big Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Champion, former MCW Tag Team Champion. You've been a champion everywhere you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruckus, thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir.
For having me, guys.
No worries. How are you going tonight?
I'm trying to do my best tonight, brother.
That's the way, man. That's the way. Ruckus, look, I just wanted to obviously kick off the show tonight, just so our viewers can learn a little bit about your career. You debuted in professional wrestling in 1999. Prior to that, starting out as a backyarder. What got you into backyard wrestling to start with before becoming a pro? Was it just being a massive fan and having friends that were also massive fans at the time?
Well, I actually started out wrestling in high school, and then from there I started doing backyard wrestling and met a few friends, and we started our own backyard fed and everything, and we did that for a little while. We actually got shut down by the state of Maryland because that was back wrestling was made illegal in the state of Maryland. So when that happened, I went to wrestling school and became a pro wrestler, and then kind of went from there.
Yeah. So where were you trained as a professional wrestler? Who was your trainer?
I was actually trained in Baltimore. It was a school called Brainbusters Wrestling Academy, and by Bob Starr, Chad Austin, and Axel Rotten. So I was trained by those guys pretty much.
Yeah, right. And once you sort of were training, you made your debut in 1999. And correct me if I'm wrong, but your first professional wrestling match, your tag team partner was New Jack?
No. My first professional match was actually Battle Royal.
Oh,
that was the first time the ring was a Battle Royal. And then my second professional match was against Chad Austin. I didn't do anything with New Jack till later on.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I was looking at cagematch.com and they didn't actually have that on there, so I apologize. But
who did you idolize while you were starting out in wrestling? What was there someone who sort of you wanted to follow?
Early on, I was a big fan of Ric Flair. I've always been like a big Ric Flair fan, but I say the person that made me want to be a wrestler was Too Cold Scorpio.
Nice.
I really enjoyed Too Cold Scorpio's work. He's actually a good friend of mine, so he's probably in my eyes the greatest.
Yeah, Too Cold Scorpio. He was. I remember seeing him in the early '90s on some ECW DVDs, and I can definitely see a lot of the similar sort of style. How it's influenced you in your career. I remember seeing, you in the early 2000s, late '90s in CZW, with a company that was mainly known for ultra violence and extreme and using weapons and so forth, and seeing yourself debut and some of the things you were able to do, and not only be able to wow the management, but also wow the complete crowds that were complete bloodthirsty for that type of wrestling, and you were going in there and giving them something different to that. And the matches that I've seen you have with Trent Acid, for one, to me, him and you had some absolutely amazing matches that were, probably some of the best junior heavyweight / cruiserweight matches I've ever seen in my life, and I honestly mean that.
Yeah, I gotta give a lot of credit to Trent Acid for pretty much teaching me how to do that style of wrestling, because I was mostly trained in more of a southern style of wrestling, so I wasn't really I do how to do the high flying moves, but it wasn't really most of the stuff that I did a lot. And once I got into CZW, I don't know, Trent just knew how to put stuff together, and everything kind of changed my style altogether once I started working with Trent. He was really, really good at what he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give a lot of credit to him when it comes to, you know, us starting to come up with a bunch of the newer cruiserweight style of wrestling back then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just real quick, we just wanted to give a special mention to Wrestling Review Society. They are now on Instagram. You can check them out at Wrestling Review Society 1. And just to give them a bit of a plug, they have their show on this Wednesday, 7 p.m. American Eastern. And that will be 11 a.m. on Thursday, Australian time. So they actually have Vampiro coming on this coming Wednesday. So make sure to check it out, guys. So Ruckus.
How did you come up with the name Ruckus? Where did that originate from?
Am I still there?
Yeah, you're here, man.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's say, where did the name Ruckus come from? Where did it originate from?
Say that one more time.
Where did you come up with the name Ruckus?
Oh, actually, one of my trainers came up with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just my real name, and they said that was not going to work. So I think Dennis Whipwreck was actually the guy to come up with the name.
Yeah, and one of the things I'd like to probably mention as well, you're part of a stable with Black G's and, you know, Robbie Marino called the Blackout. You guys have been together for a long time, man, and you know, it's one of those things in pro wrestling that you very rarely see a stable stay as long together as you guys have. Like, it's been over 10 years, and you know, most pro wrestling stables break up after about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years if they're lucky. What's been the success to Blackout for, you know, such longevity?
I mean, when we started it was pretty much we were all pretty much on the mid card, and the idea pretty much was Robbie's. He pretty much came up with the idea of the whole stable group and everything. And we were just all friends, you know? It wasn't like we were just a bunch of dudes that didn't really know each other. Like, we were friends before we even got into CZW, so it was like a natural situation once we all got together, and it was just pretty much like a family situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, you can definitely see by the connection that you guys have when you guys go out there. Your ring introductions are something that I pop for absolutely every time, especially yours. And I have to admit, I did do a bit of gimmick infringement. We had one of our guests on, Mr. Bill Grits, special mention, and I did do a Ruckus intro for him. And he quite like.
You should do it again right now, so we can all see.
You want me to do the ring intro for you, Ruckus?
Great.
You there? Hello?
I don't know if it's my phone, but you kind of broke up. I couldn't hear you.
I said I did your ring intro for one of our guests we had on a little while ago called Bill Grits, and yeah, no, it was he's the Jake the Snake getting baked, you know, that sort of ring intro that you guys did. You there?
Any chance, Ruckus, do you have a computer you could jump on instead of the phone?
Oh. Hey, Ruckus, are you there, bud? Hello?
Hold on a second.
All right. So we're just
Also,
waiting for Ruckus.
Still there?
Yeah, you're
Yep.
still here, man.
As I mentioned to the people watching, if you want to click on the link above us where it says StreamYard, so that way we can see your name, it doesn't just come up as Facebook user, and just go, yep, let me use that, so we can see your name.
Yeah, guys. So, all right. So let's check some comments that we got out. So
Yep.
you got Michael Mados and Christy with a black heart.
Aw. Hi, Michael.
We got Facebook user, Let's Go Ruckus.
Click above.
Yeah. Kevin from WRS is watching. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yo, Kev.
Facebook user, what up?
What's up?
Jaswat Singh, Ruckus, do you remember the UWA wrestling days from Toronto, Canada? Jaswant, I will definitely ask him that when he comes back on. He's just on using his mobile phone, so I think he may have just received a phone call. So we'll have him pop back on when he comes back. Christy, we did our another debut show on Wednesday night where we challenged each other. And we did 2020 wrestling. How did you find that show?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I had a great time. I had a great time, Chrissy, because you know what?
Yeah.
Like we honestly, like we threw questions out there, and like I thought I was able to gonna get a lot of them right, and I thought, yeah, I was quite surprised. So, Facebook user, great show so far. Thank you very much. Please click the link above so we can see who it is that's commenting.
What I found was interesting was the questions
Facebook user
dump you were the ones you got really quickly, and the ones that I thought was shit easy. Yeah, well, it was like, I had it all backwards basically. I was like, oh, this, he won't get this, and you're like, bang, got it. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, well, I was probably more like surprised myself that it was a lot of fun, and I think the next time we do the show, we actually have to do it in a way where we're doing different styles of wrestling, where we have to go and do a bit of research and watch a bit of wrestling.
Maybe do like one that say like it's a WrestleMania themed, so that way, or one that's based on hardcore wrestling or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm really
do so much research in a week.
Yeah, guys. Look, I'm really sorry that Ruckus has ducked out. I'm sure he's working on coming back in right now. Piers, you gorgeous bastard. Okay, thank you very much.
Stop pretending to be Facebook users and complimenting yourself.
Glad I could catch us. Thank you, Facebook user. Click the link above, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and allow StreamYard to show your name so we can see you and you can see your name pop up on the little thing below. So
you can be famous. Yeah, MWA famous. Yeah.
That's it. MWA. So Christy, what are we going to challenge each other next on the next 2020 wrestling?
I'd like to still keep it WWE because that's the stuff I know. But that's just me being selfish.
Yeah, but we're also, like you've got to go. You know what I mean? Like we're interviewing a gentleman who is a CZW legend, and we're waiting for him.
I'm getting
Andrew. No Ruckus. Something's happened and he's had to duck out. I'm just going to message him now.
At the moment, we're like the elevator music in between the waiting time.
Exactly.
But no, I've already been writing a few questions down to ask you. Ready for Wednesday again?
You know what? I think one of the things.
I saw the comment.
Christy or Piers, who can name Jericho's current theme first?
Judas. I'm assuming it's Judas. I'm hoping it's Judas.
What's the band's name?
Fozzy.
Fuck. All right, cool. I thought
you're going to lose that one. They're my second favorite band.
Really? So you like bad music then?
Yeah.
Oh, I said it. I'm sorry, but there's so much auto-tune on that. you know. But anyway.
But I've seen them live twice.
Oh, cool.
And the first one is the best concert I've ever been to.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have to admit,
I'm a fan.
Hold on a sec, we got Ruckus back. Hey, brother.
What's up, bro?
Hey, not much. We were just shooting the shit, literally. So just chilling out. But so, Ruckus, I did mention your ring entrances that you guys would have, and when the announcer would introduce you to the crowd. Where did you guys come up with like such? You know, it was so entertaining to see. Every time I see it now, I still pop every time I see it. Who came up with that ring entrance for you guys, and the announcer introducing you that way?
Well, the announcer, we brought Larry Legend up. He was a friend of mine from Maryland. He was a really good ring announcer, so we brought him in to help us do that. And Robbie pretty much came up with the idea of it. We were just sitting around, you know, smoking some weed one day, and he was like, "I got an idea," and it just went from there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and I absolutely loved it, and I especially love the one that you guys have. That I see that where it's like the Jake the Snake of getting bait.
yeah.
And like, I'm just like, that to me was like, oh, I pop every time for that, every time I see it. So, but look, Ruckus as well. Moving into, you know, those junior heavyweight matches that you had, you also very early on in your career, you know, you had the opportunity to go over to Japan and wrestle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, you know, you were a very young guy. What was it like heading over to Japan?
Would have been a culture shock.
You know, was that the first time you'd traveled overseas, or was that the first time you traveled overseas for wrestling? And what was that like for you, and going over there and adapting to the Japanese culture while you were there?
It was fun, man. Like that was my first time ever really traveling at all. So, you know, when I got over there, it was something completely new to me. So the whole the wrestling scene over there is insane. But just seeing Tokyo and meeting the people over there is like one of the best experiences of my life, pretty much.
Is it hard to get into the crowd when they're very quiet and don't applaud, or they applaud for moves, but generally, yeah, they're not like an American crowd where they're like yelling and screaming and cheering. Like, they're very well reserved and very honorable, you know, and appreciate the fact that they've got, you know, wrestling there. Is it weird going from one extreme to the other?
Definitely. Like when you're out there wrestling and, you know, they're not really reacting like a Philly crowd, they're insane. They're probably some of the most insane people you can wrestle in front of. But when you're over there, it's like, yeah, they're real quiet until you're doing something like really crazy or like the end of like a big spot or something. They'll all applaud. But they're some of the best fans you can wrestle in front of. They're really passionate about the sport and they're really respectful over there.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing. You know, you had you won the Big Japan Pro Wrestling title over there, if I'm correct.
Yes, I won that title and CZW Junior title in the same match. It was me, Trent Acid, and Winger at the Yokohama Arena.
Yeah, and you guys had almost like went back and forth with Trent Acid with those titles, and to me, like, you came in as a junior heavyweight, but they mentioned that, you know, the commentators were questioning your weight at the time. You know, was that sort of done as like, how did they try and sort of explain that to you, putting you in as a junior heavyweight and going for the titles? You know, but also mentioning that you exceeded the weight limit for those titles, but you still became the champion. Was that something that you were okay with doing, or did you, like, what was your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much when I first got into CZW, I really didn't know where I was going there, like what direction I was going to be going in, because I was still pretty new to the business. So coming in, I think when I first started wrestling, I was about 350 pounds, but I could still do all the high flying stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I remember seeing those matches with you in, you know, I think 2001 when you debuted in CZW, and the things that you were able to do, I was blown away.
Yeah,
I was amazed.
And it was crazy because I was doing all that type of stuff, you know, early on, like in my yard. So it was like, once I actually got to do it in the ring, it was pretty much easy to do at that weight for some reason. And then once people started seeing a guy that size doing all that type of shit, it was like, yeah, come on up. So I went up there, and when they had me doing all that stuff, I say it was around when the first Best of the Best was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that time I dropped down to about 260 at that point. And Zandig noticed, you know, I think it was Mondo. Nick Mondo couldn't make a show, and I had to take his spot, so I wrestled Trent that night. And it was just supposed to be just, you know, a one and done match. But the match was so good, John said, you know, we can do something with this. So it was like maybe 6 months. I worked with Trent Ashley for about 6 months before we actually came up with the whole idea of the Big Japan Junior title feud. So after that, it was just pretty much, once we started, it just snowballed down from there. Like, everybody wanted to see the match. So once we brought Winger in and the Big Japan title, I think Johnny Cashmere brought it over first. And we did the first exchange in New Jersey. And I beat Trent and Johnny in a handicap tag match. And Johnny's Big Japan title was on the line. And so I took the title then from Johnny. Trent had the CZW Junior title. And then we did a deal where they both got held up in America. And we did the main match for it over in Japan. So that's pretty much how that happened. But I was cool with the whole junior heavyweight, you know, run, the way they had me doing it. And it helped get a lot of other younger junior heavyweights over. Like my friend Sanjay, I brought him in to CZW. And once and once we got Chris Cash and like Derek Frazier and all these guys, you know, we were able to build like a pretty, really good junior heavyweight division from that.
Do you have any favorite memories from Japan, like, or funny stories from being on the road over there?
Over in Japan, most of the time it was more Trent just making me laugh the whole time. Like, he had already been over there a couple times, so as soon as I got over there with him and like Madman Pondo, those dudes are like the best guys to be around if you're going out of the country, because Trent will make you laugh 24/7. He was always on. And Pondo's like the coolest guy you can ever hang out with. So those two pretty much took me around everywhere. And, you know,
it's almost probably like you're not really working, I guess, when you're around people who you enjoy being around.
No, it was just a good time, man. And, you know, they already knew the ropes over there. So it was pretty easy for me to transition into doing that type of wrestling, having guys like that around you, you know, to teach you what to do and what not to do. I'll tell you a funny story over there.
Okay.
All right, we were told, as soon as we got off the plane, Zandig tells us, don't use the telephone to call home. Get a phone card or whatever. But he's like, don't use the phone. So, you know, I was figuring it couldn't be that big of a deal. So we get there, we land. And it's my first time out of the country, so I'm all eager to call home right away. So I end up making a mistake like a dumbass and calling home from the hotel room. And I swear I was on the phone for like 5 minutes, bro. But, you know, I figured like 3 days later, we're in a hotel, and I get this bill in my room, and it's like what was it? In American, it would translate to like close to $600, bro.
For a 5-minute phone call.
For a phone call.
5 minutes. That's insane.
So I'm freaking out at this point, bro. Like, I'm freaking out.
Most expensive phone call ever.
And I was more scared to even have to tell John that, like, you know,
dude, he's an intimidating guy. Like, you know what I mean?
he's the man, bro. Like, I wouldn't mess with him, but he's like, my dad, bro. He's cool as hell. But like, he ended up getting me out of it, so thank God.
So Ruckus, I just want to throw a question. Jaswant Singh wants to ask, Ruckus, do you remember the UWA wrestling days from Toronto, Canada?
Oh, they were the best, bro. Like, the UWA days were some of the funnest times I had in wrestling, man. Like, that Canadian crowd was absolutely insane. And we had some great matches up there. That was a really good company.
So the Facebook user, make sure to mention those belts Ruckus has in the back. So yes, we will get to that. What belts are those in the back, Ruckus? So just to mention to everyone, Ruckus is also a belt collector, but his belt collection belts that he is one that he likes the design of, and he is a fan of belts. Ruckus, can you tell us what got you into belt collecting?
It was mostly just, for my man cave. Just to have something in the back right there, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you can't see the other one, but I got another one in here too. But the ones in the back, that's like that's the MCW heavyweight and tag and the German wrestling promotion world title. And on the other side, I have all the CZW titles and the Big Japan Junior title.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what are you watching on TV? What have you got paused?
I wasn't watching this at all. Oh, I don't know what this is. Okay. I got friends over. They were watching it. I had to kick them out the room because the phone wasn't working in the other room. So.
Well, we appreciate you making some time for us, but yeah, look, guys, how I actually got to know Ruckus was everyone knows I have a replica CZW World Heavyweight title. I posted progress pictures of it. Ruckus actually commented on it, and we started exchanging back and forth and talking about wrestling belts and obviously wrestling and Ruckus's career and become friends. But Ruckus, I want to sort of go forward into your career when you won the CZW World Heavyweight title. So, you won the CZW title from the Messiah, who was pretty much on his way out of Combat Zone Wrestling at the time and heading out of wrestling at the time as well. What did it mean to you to win that belt for the first time and be the guy that were sort of putting all that stock on to continue the legacy of that championship and take it to new heights? What did that actually mean to you?
It meant pretty much that all the hard work we did with the blackout for that whole year pretty much paid off, because I had no idea I was ever going to win the title. Like, I wasn't ever expecting to win the title pretty much, because we were pretty much happy just doing what we were doing. And I remember getting to the arena that night, and they just came up to me and they said, yeah, you're wrestling Messiah tonight, and you're going over for the title. So I was shocked pretty much. And, Messiah, he's like one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet in your life. Great worker. And, we got together, we talked, and we were just going to go out there and tear it down that night, man. And, I don't think the crowd even expected it to happen like that. So when it did, it kind of just changed everything from that point, man. And credit to Messiah, he actually got knocked out in that match, early on. And, he kept going throughout the match. So I really give him a lot of credit for that, because he took a really nasty bump in the beginning of that match.
He also in that match was Nick Gage, correct?
No, that was the second time.
The second time. Sorry about that.
Does it put more pressure on you guys when the title's on the line? Like, do you feel a little bit more stressed out or pressure when you have title matches as opposed to just your standard matches?
Me, I feel pressure all the time. Like, even today, it can be 10 people out there, and I'll feel pressure to even walk to the curtain. Like, it's always been that way with me. So that's pretty much why I always have Robbie with me pretty much, because he kind of buffers that for me. But title matches are definitely a lot of pressure, because you're the main event, and you gotta make sure that match is good. You know what I mean? It can't just be a shitty match, and when it is, it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you have your off nights, but for the most part, when you're in the main event, you kind of want to step it up as much as you can.
Yep, that's understandable.
Especially in a place like CZW, because there's so much talent and so many really good guys back then coming through that, you really had to step it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you could actually see from the quality of what CZW back then was, to the crowd reactions, you know what I mean? To have a crowd screaming and chanting the initials of the company, you know what I mean? Like, consistently. And, I watch combat, I was a big Combat Zone wrestling fan, as everybody knows, and got into it back then from the wrestling magazines and started buying DVDs and tapes from overseas. And even now I've got the CZW Studios network, where I'm now rewatching these great matches from years prior, and they hold up. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I wanted to mention, it's just been announced that Christopher Wilson, better known as Justice Payne, former CZW Grand Slam champion, passed away. So, Ruckus, I know that you shared a locker room with him. You wrestled against him in multiple types of matches, tags and one-on-ones. How close were you with Chris or Justice?
I mean, Chris was a really good guy, man. Like, he was pretty much a locker room leader when I first came in there. And, he pretty much ran the company at that point. Like, he pretty much made that world title mean something at the time. And just a good dude, and it's real sad to see him go, you know what I mean? Like, he was one of those dudes that just always a cool guy.
Yeah. And he's one of those guys, he once he got out of wrestling, he never sort of, did the one-offs or came back. And I was always a big fan of Justice. And I know I've heard a lot of podcasts about other people about certain things, about how he wrestled or whatever, but as you said, everyone has an off night. You know what I mean? It's like anything people do. If you have a job, you have an off day. You know what I mean? Where shit happens sometimes. It's, and especially in professional wrestling, accidents can happen. Like the line of something happening can happen sometimes, but I never heard of any story of anyone getting seriously hurt from being in the ring with Justice Payne. But for me, I loved his promos. I loved when he would come out to the ring, his ring entrance, his music. He had that demeanor of a champion. He had that demeanor of the guy who was the world title holder. And, he demanded that respect almost, and, I was very sad to hear the news of his passing. So
yeah, I was real sad there myself. Like, he was definitely one of those guys that if you were watching CZW back then and he came out, he definitely commanded, everybody's respect and had a good presence about him.
No, absolutely. And, I just want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the Wilson family, his brother, Nick Gage, on behalf of Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance, our deepest condolences. So we got a question from Tenarian Dancy. So Tenarian does a lot of our images for our group. He's a great digital media graphic designer. He has a question. What's the best promotion currently out if you still watch wrestling, that is? What, in your opinion, what's the best promotion going today?
I pretty much like all wrestling, you know what I mean? I don't really put any of them on
No favorites.
pedestal or anything like that. There's a lot of the great talented guys in all those companies. So you know, if everybody should support pretty much all wrestling companies because there's a lot of talented guys out there, even if they're not on TV. You can see a lot of talented guys, especially today. Like back when I was coming up, it was pretty much not a lot of people innovating a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So me and like people like Sanjay and people like Matt Cross and stuff like that, like we innovated some really cool shit back then. But now you see these kids going out there today, like a Alex Zane or like the Private Party and stuff like that. Like these kids are going out there doing some pretty cool shit. You know what I mean? Like some shit that I've never seen before. So, you can't help but support some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Do you think the internet's kind of helped the wrestling industry or been more of a hindrance?
I mean, you can look at it both ways, Like, even when I was coming up, they would look at people like me and Trent and call us, like, spot monkeys and stuff like that when we go out there and, go a million miles an hour doing stuff. But it was just, it's the times, you know what I mean? Wrestling changes with time and, we might not like it. Some people might not like the new style of wrestling, but, that's not our time, you know what I mean? It's a young man's game, and these young dudes are going out there and doing some real amazing stuff, man. So, I'm not going to hate on that. Like, there's some pretty amazing talent out there right now.
Well, I remember hearing that Ricky Steamboat said the same thing. It was like back in the 80s when he and Ric Flair were doing their thing, the old timers were telling him the same thing. You need to slow down, you need to. And like, at the end of the day, it's almost like, when you're a parent and you have children, you know what I mean? Like, music back in my day, that was real music. And, like some of the, I've got a young son and some of the stuff he wants to listen to or watch on TV, I'm like, what? You know what I mean? But that was the same with, and I think that's the same with, probably leading into wrestling. There's different types of genres of wrestling. There's, your tag team type of wrestling. There's your death match type of wrestling. There's your high flying. There's your lucha libre. There's your mat.
But the thing is, you're not going to make everybody happy.
No, you're not. There's always going to be
everybody's going to be mad about something. So if people just enjoy what they're watching and just have fun with it, that's what wrestling is, man. Like, it's an escape. Like, just watch it and have fun. Like, if we're just going to sit there and complain about everything we see all the time, what's the point of watching it?
Yeah, look, that's the thing, and I completely agree with you with that. Like, for me, like I watch all types of wrestling. I watch WWE, NXT, NWA, Ring of Honor, CZW. I keep up with that as well. I'm trying to keep up with more of your matches as well, Ruckus, now that I've become friends with you on YouTube.
I'm learning more.
So, for me, I can't get enough wrestling. And for me, like, I work a full-time job. I have a family. I'm a dad. So for me, my spare time, my escape is professional wrestling. And that's why, like, I want to watch as much as I can get from everywhere I can get and enjoy everything. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's
there's some things I'm not into, but sorry.
People aren't really enjoying the products anymore. They're more looking for something to complain about. And that's not everybody, but
2019 was the year of the haters. Everyone just loved hating on everything and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, what's the point in that? Like, don't get me wrong. I understand if you pay for a pay-per-view and it sucks, you're going to be upset about that. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that wholeheartedly. But, like, a lot of people take it a little overboard. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, people just enjoy the product and just, let it be as that.
So Jaswant Singh just wants to say it was really nice seeing you. Canada loves you, and weed's legal here now. Woo!
Man, trust me, bro. I love Canada, man. That's probably one of my favorite places ever to work.
One of my best friends in the world lives over in Canada, and he lived over in Australia for a long time. and he's now back in Canada. So I've got a reason to go there. I just need to organise the time to go for a holiday.
You can get your hands on some UWA tapes or some IWS stuff. You should check that stuff out, man. They got a lot of great wrestlers over in Canada.
They definitely do, man. They definitely do. Jaswan, maybe you can hook me up with some of those shows. Maybe you can send me some links.
Yeah, man.
Ruckus, have you ever been to Australia?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if there's any promoters out there that want to book Ruckus.
Yeah, man, let me know.
It's a long flight, but worth it.
Yeah,
down there.
No, that's great. But no, so you mentioned the Canadians. They came in to Combat Zone Wrestling right around the time that you were the world champion, that 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
What was your experience wrestling guys like Sami Zayn, aka El Generico, Kevin Owens?
Oh, those guys are great, man. Like, there was a lot of great Canadian wrestlers that came up, like Frankie the Mobster, Bishop and Lionel. Like, they had a lot.
Frankie the Mobster was intense.
He was awesome. Like, he was really cool, dude. And wrestling people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, those guys are like always on point. And had one of my best matches with Sami Zayn. He's really good. And I think Claudio is probably one of my favorite people of all time to wrestle. Cesaro? Is that what they call him now?
Yeah.
He's on a whole nother level, bro. He's really
a push than what he currently has at the moment.
Dude, he's really, really good. He can make you look like $1 million. He's great.
He's so underutilized, though. Like where he's at now. Like I watch it and just go, man, they've got a gold mine with that guy, and they just man.
I miss his Bond theme entrance where he'd come out and rip his clothes off.
All right, keep it in your pants, Chris. But yeah, like so, you have wrestled guys like the Kevin Owens or Kevin Steens, as he was known back then, and you mentioned Frankie the Mobster. Does Frankie still wrestle? Do you still keep in contact with him?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen Frankie in a while. I think he still does wrestle over there, but he's really good, man.
Who was your favorite person to tag with?
Most Black G's and Robbie, pretty much. Those two, I tag with them all over the place. So
yeah.
Eddie Kingston at one stage was also in Black.
Oh yeah, Eddie Kingston is awesome.
Yeah.
Great on the mic, great worker, great all around.
His promos from Tournament of Death 4, which I believe was probably, you weren't really known as a deathmatch guy, but you were, you did a couple of death matches involving barbed wire.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing in TOD4 the promos that Eddie Kingston did. It was like so chilling. Like I recommend everyone goes and watches that promo. It was just so amazing. And even the match that you guys had in TOD4.
That match was brutal, bro.
Oh, man. Like, I watched that and, like, obviously I rewatched it, not too long ago. And as I said, Ruckus, you and I have become friends. We talk almost like, once or twice a week.
Yeah, man.
So now watching that, knowing that you're my friend, seeing you go through that, I'm like, oh, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, you know what I mean? I feel for you, bro.
Yeah, one spot in that match where Zandig came over. It's a funny story in that match. If you go back and watch that match, you'll see we're on the floor and Robbie hits Zandig with a crutch. And Zandig just pretty much takes the crutch and destroys Robbie with this crutch. Well, Robbie hit him with the crutch the wrong way, and it legit messed him up.
Oh.
So he took the crutch and tried to kill Robbie with this crutch, and then he comes over to me, and I'm not even paying attention at this point, and he kicks me and he power bombs me to this table on the floor, and Dude, I swear I saw my life flash before my eyes, bro. Like that table just exploded, and I just folded like an accordion. It was the worst.
I think I remember that spot.
Dude,
I remember that spot.
That was probably the worst spot I've ever taken in my life.
Have you had any crazy injuries over the years?
Surprisingly, no, thank God. Like, I think the worst injury I've had, other than like blowing my knees out, would be you can't really see it, but I got a cut that goes all the way down my head, and that had to be fixed with plastic surgery. Me and Trent wrestled for a place called Epic Pro in California, and we did a spot where he gave me a DDT on the apron, and a piece of metal literally came up through the ring, through the canvas, and it like sliced my head all the way through, and it completely opened up. Damn. And it's on YouTube. It was really bad.
Extra juice that night.
Yeah, that was probably the worst I've ever been injured in a match.
So I just wanted to give a quick plug to your business that you run. You run a business called Chocolate City Customs.
Yeah, man.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Pretty much it's just, people like to get a bunch of their stuff customized, like game consoles, computers, and we do custom builds, like custom arcade machines. We pretty much build whatever you want. Like we get a lot of crazy requests from people, and we pretty much put together whatever you want done.
What's the craziest request that you get?
How many moves
I think the craziest thing we built so far would be a touchscreen arcade table.
Oh,
it's like a coffee table that's a touchscreen, and it's pretty much a multimedia machine. Does movies, video games, jukebox. Yeah, it's a big coffee table. So that's like one of the craziest things we did. That, and then we turned the PlayStation 4 into an actual wrestling ring. So, yeah.
So, guys, if you want to get your consoles pimped out, we'll make sure to post a link in the comments for custom chocolate customs.
Do you do international orders or just in America?
We ship anywhere.
All right, there you go, guys. We'll make sure to post a link in the comments below after the show. And you've actually done some crazy wrestling themed stuff as well. I also wanted to see, have you heard of a company called A-Rock Designs?
No.
So I know you like the custom things as well. They actually do custom cups, keychains, that sort of stuff as well. And they do like the tumbler style cups.
Yeah.
You should check them out. Go check out A-Rock Designs. I reckon they could do a cool blackout cup for you as well.
So, definitely will.
Yeah, no, definitely do. They're actually it's run by a friend of mine, Ashley Rodriguez. So yeah, check out that for sure. I'm sure she'll be able to hook you up.
Definitely.
So where when you're in Combat Zone Wrestling, there was a bit of a shift in 2009 from Zandig to DJ Hyde. What was that like backstage? Going through that shift at the time.
I mean, it wasn't too good because a lot of people, once Zandig ran the company pretty much like a father figure almost, and he had the company running really well, whereas not a lot of people liked DJ at the time. And, don't get me wrong, DJ was a cool dude. Like, he's a cool dude. He gets a lot of flack. But, like, for the most part, DJ is a pretty cool dude, down to earth. He just didn't run the company the way a lot of people thought he should run a company. And, it's his company at the time, so it's his right to run it whatever way he wants. But
sure.
A lot of people felt it should have been ran a little differently, and it could have been ran a lot better. But, it is what it is with that. But I think he gets a lot of some of the stuff he gets is well-deserved, but I think sometimes people get down on him a little too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I've heard mixed reactions from DJ. I've never spoken to him. I've never met him, so I can't comment. You know what I mean? Like,
DJ's a nice dude. DJ, he's a harmless dude. He's cool.
Yeah,
like,
and I've
he
heard that.
Bad decisions, but business DJ and DJ the person are two different people. So
yeah, and that's something I have heard that I've heard that he's an absolute sweetheart of a guy. Love to get him on sometime. DJ, if you're seeing this interview, would love to have you on anytime. But for you now, whereabouts are you wrestling at the moment?
I do a lot of. I work for GCW.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brett Lauderdale and those guys over there, and I work in Maryland at ACW, and I do a lot of indies around.
Besides Australia, is there anywhere else in the world you'd like to wrestle but haven't yet?
I wouldn't mind going to Australia. England's cool. I like going to England. Places I haven't wrestled yet. I don't know. I'm pretty much up to do whatever. Like I don't really put a lot of goals or anything.
Sort of content going with the flow.
Yeah, just wherever it goes.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's, I suppose, the best way to be. It's not putting the expectation on yourself or the added pressure that comes with that. So, and that's the thing. It's just sort of being the sort of happy-go-lucky. That's the Australian way. So maybe we should adopt you as an Australian, Ruckus.
Yeah, man. You can't really when I got into wrestling, dude. I was realistic about it. Like, I'm not a tall dude. I'm like 5'8". And, I'm a real heavy dude, so I wasn't really ever expecting to, be in WWE or anything like that. I just, I like wrestling, so I just wanted to be a pro wrestler. So once I accomplished that, it was like whatever comes from that is a bonus, pretty much. You know what I mean?
How many more years do you see yourself wrestling for?
Maybe 3. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too much longer.
And you mentioned WWE. Had you had any tryouts with WWE in the past?
Yeah.
And what was their feedback following those?
They always liked my talent and everything. I was offered a contract at one point by Tommy Dreamer, but then it just didn't. That's not the right time. Didn't work out. Like at the time, they told me I was too short. And then, they had me lose a ton of weight. Then they said I lost too much weight. So it was like
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Things, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no hard feelings to them or anything. Like, they're still a great company, still great guys up there. It's all good.
Oh, absolutely. And you wrestled for a while in Ring of Honor as well. Yeah, so you went over there with Blackout, and you wrestled.
I was actually with the Vulture Squad over there.
Oh, the Vulture Squad. Sorry.
Yeah, it was me, Jack Evans, and Jigsaw. Yeah, with Julius Smokes. That's the manager.
And how did you find your time over in Ring of Honor?
I mean, it was cool, man. Like, you always had good matches over there. They had a really good locker room over there. And, all the guys were fun. The office and everything at the time, just like any other job, you got a boss, long hours, long flights. But, when it came time to wrestle and everything else, the locker room was just a fun group of guys to be around, and they all knew what they were doing. It was just a real fun time, real professional.
That was around the same time that CZW and ROH did their invasion angle.
Yeah.
Around that 2005, 2006. How did that come about? I mean, like they're two completely different companies, and you were sort of in the midst of your world title run or becoming the world champion amongst that. How was that for you? Like, where did you fit into all of that at the time?
Well, at the time that whole angle was going on, I was actually doing a lot of different things. Like, I wasn't really involved in that whole situation. Like, I think the only time I got involved in the invasion angle was when they came to CZW. And, you know, me and the Blackout will, you know, do 6-mans with a couple of the Ring of Honor guys. But for the most part, when they were doing that, I was either torn over in All Japan at the time. And as soon as I came back from there, I went right to Germany. So it was like I was not really in the States at the time when they were really doing that whole angle.
Yeah,
I was going back and forth from either All Japan or to Germany.
How do you cope being away from family for so long when you're on the road?
It's hard, you know, but I always stay in touch, and yeah, yeah, but like, you know, it sucks. Like sometimes, especially when you're over in Japan, you're by yourself or something. Like it's long days, man.
And I guess time zone difference would probably come into play to call your family and stuff like that as well. Would probably be a pain in the butt.
And for the most part, you're on like a bus for the most time when you're in Japan. So it's like you really don't have a lot of time to call anyway. And back in those days, you know, cell phones weren't crazy everywhere yet. So it's like, you know,
payphones and
Did you learn any Japanese when you were over there? Like,
I'm a little bit, not a ton, enough to get by.
Yeah, enough to get you enough to get you a cold beer at a bar or a hotel room. That's one thing my dad always told me is like, as long as you can find out where you can get a cold beer and where the bathroom is, you're golden.
Yeah, the cool thing about Japan, they got machines. They got beer machines.
They have vending machines for everything.
Like everywhere. You can buy a beer like you buy soda over there. So
you can buy dirty underwear at a vending machine in Japan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's nasty. That's like, yeah. I mean, I'm a liberal kind of guy, but that's pretty fucking strange. You know what I mean? But you know,
one place to visit, you would definitely want to visit Japan. It's great.
Yeah, no, I've had friends that have gone over there and they've said that it's amazing.
Yeah,
I've had friends go over there and see wrestling shows, and they say that it's like nothing else in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a completely different situation over there, man.
Yeah, like it's crazy to see how the difference is, and I think Australian fans are pretty much like how the American fans are. You know, at any type of sporting events, you know, they love sort of, you know, drinking beer, cheering, going "fuck yeah," like, you know. Whereas the
Japanese are such bogans when it comes to wrestling.
Japanese women wrestling, like those matches are brutal, bro.
Yeah, like I've seen some crazy shit. You know, and like you know, you look at some of the Japanese talent, like even Asuka in WWE, like she's
awesome.
Oh, when she kicks, it's like, oh my god, like it's scaring. Yeah, it's like, and Facebook user wants to ask if he ever went to the banana show in Japan.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is supposed to mean, Facebook user. So maybe you can let us put a bit of light in there. So, yeah. So you know, you mentioned as well, you know, wrestling in Blackout, wrestling in ROH, and obviously, you know, winning titles there in most companies you've been at. What do you find out of all the titles that you've won and also in your belt collection? What's your favorite title that you have in your collection?
I guess it'd be the CZW heavyweight title, the world title.
Yeah. So you actually have two of them, if I'm correct, a black one and a white one.
Yeah, the white one's probably my favorite one.
You don't sound stalkerish at all, Piers.
Sorry?
You don't sound stalkerish at all. It's like, in that
shut the fuck up, Christy. Tanarian, message from Ruckus. I'm going to make a custom artwork. So Tanarian does graphic design, and he does a lot of our images for the group, Ruckus. So he said he's actually going to do a custom artwork piece for you that he's going to send over to you. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Tanari.
I'll put it in my trophy room.
Yeah, man. He'll send you over the image and everything like that. And he's a great kid.
Awesome.
So yeah. So
I appreciate that.
What's your plans for the future, Ruckus, in pro wrestling? Where do you see yourself, going forward? Do you plan on continuing on the indies? If you have an opportunity to do something in AEW, would you consider doing it?
Yeah, man, I'm up for whatever, man. Like, when it comes to wrestling, like I said, I just what happens with that, man. Like, I don't really put any, like, real expectations on anything. Like, if people want to work, we can work. That's the way it is, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the great way about it. But one of the things I'd probably like to ask, probably for our viewers out there, is how does it go about, say, for example, you're in a new locker room, you're going to be working a guy you've never worked before. How do you put a match together with someone like that?
You just sit down with each other, feel each other out, see what he does, and, just try to have a good time with it. Like me, I just like having a good time. So if I'm pretty much laid back when it comes to everything. So whatever somebody wants to do, I'm pretty much down for it. As long as we can just be safe with it, just have a good time with it.
Good plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think that's the thing. It's like you hear a lot of stories in wrestling where a lot of guys take the gimmick too serious, or just take wrestling too serious for what it is. Like, oh no, I'm going over, or anything like that. Did you ever have any experiences like that? Like you did mention, you were a shorter kind of guy in pro wrestling. Did you ever have guys say, "No, I'm not going to put him over. I'm not going to drop the belt to him"?
I mean, early on, when I was a rookie, I would have guys do stuff like that, and I mean, it's understandable. I'm just getting in the business, but I never really had a lot of guys, any real professional guys act like that at all. You'll have like unprofessional dudes that like really small indie shows that walk around acting like that for some reason. I don't know, but for the most part, you really don't run into people like that unless they're like real clowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nowadays you get a lot of those type dudes around.
Yeah, look, I see that, obviously being in, starting my own wrestling show and trying to get wrestlers on the show. I've had Maven Bentley and Bill Alfonso on the show. And yourself, Ruckus, as well. And I've never been big timed by anyone. I've never been like, anything like that. And I thought, when I started messaging guys to ask them, I thought, they're going to call me a mark and tell me to fuck off. And I got so much positive response from these guys. And it's like, anyone that I've spoken to in the professional wrestling business has been nothing but the most respectful people I've ever met in my life, to be honest. And yourself included, So, you guys, you even when I think some people think that you look at wrestling and think that they believe that's the person they are with the gimmick. That being said, how much of the Ruckus gimmick is you? How much of that is Claude Marrow?
Not much of it. Like the weed smoking part, maybe. But I'm not like I'm not a tough guy at all. So I'm not like a gangster or nothing like that. I'm more of a gamer, computer nerd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No,
yeah, but
PlayStation or Xbox or computer?
Say that one more time.
PlayStation, Xbox, or computer?
Oh, computer.
Ah.
Yeah. Old school classic. That's But and that's the thing. I think that a lot of people get confused with pro wrestling. Is like, yes, it is a sport, but it's also like playing a character as well, and it's a real life stunt show / movie unfolding in front of your eyes, essentially. With a good storyline, action. That's what's made me a fan, and it's probably what's made people around the world fans.
Oh, definitely.
sports entertainment really covers it quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pro wrestling does too, but but that's just me. But as I said, there's so many different genres of pro wrestling that I believe there's something out there for everybody, and one of the things I wanted to ask is what's some of your favorite styles to watch as a fan of wrestling?
See, me, I'm more of an old school type fan. Like I like old, like Memphis style wrestling. I like a lot of old AWA and stuff like that. I'm really a fan of like goofy wrestling. Like I like Glow, like the original Glow wrestling. I think that's just great, bro. Like,
did you watch
that and crack up all the time?
Did you watch the Vice Dark Side of the Ring on Glow?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah. Like I love like stuff like that though. Like the fun side of wrestling, like funny, goofy shit. Like I like that type of stuff.
Is there anyone who you haven't wrestled yet you'd love to get in the ring with?
Well, I'm finally about to wrestle Too Cold Scorpio on the 7th. So I'm looking forward to that.
Where is that going to be at, Ruckus?
It's at Matt Tremont's place in H2O Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we should have a real fun time there. It's called Sean's Weekend. I think that's the name of the show. It's on next month on the 7th. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And have you ever met Scorpio before, or is this the first time?
Nah, me and Scorpio are cool. Like, he's a real good friend of mine. So we just never got to wrestle each other. So.
And that's probably the thing is like now is that opportunity to do it. I can't believe he's actually still wrestling. I know he's been around for quite a while.
He hasn't missed a step, bro.
Really?
He's incredible still.
He still holds up.
Dude, he's great.
Oh, man. You know what? Maybe you can. I don't know if that's going to be filmed by any chance, but
oh yeah, it definitely will be.
Yeah, if you can send me a link to that'd be great. I'd love to watch that, man. So,
Piers, where are you going?
I'm just walking around
Australia.
No,
come here.
I'm walking around, but we have an answer. So the Banana Show is a strip club act in Japan that all the military guys go to.
No, I've never seen that.
No, me neither. Sorry, just give me 1 sec, guys. 1 second. Christy, can you ask some questions to Ruckus?
Yes. So when it's all said and done, career's finished, what is something that you'd like to be remembered as, or, as a professional wrestler and as a person? What would you like to be remembered for?
Just helping people out, just being a cool guy. You know what I mean? Not really stepping on anybody's toes or anything like that.
Yep.
Not really looking to be known as anything, great or crazy or anything like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's good.
So,
what else?
You mentioned that you wrestled for GCW. So I've seen a little bit of GCW. One thing that I've noticed is a lot of CZW or former CZW guys appear to be going over there. What's it like over there? Is it very much similar to what the old school CZW was like back in the day? Is that why that a lot of those guys are going over there?
Yeah, man, it's kind of just like it. Like, the locker room's fun. Like, all the boys in the back are great. And, they just have a really good atmosphere over there. It's laid back. Like, there's not a lot of pressure. You just told, go out there and have a good time. And
you're all there for the same reason.
You can't ask for more than that. You know what I mean? They run a good ship over there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you see they've got a lot of talent over there. One of the guys that I've sort of seen a lot of is Jordan Oliver.
Jordan's awesome.
Yeah, have you guys had an opportunity to have a match at all?
Nah, like me and him, I wrestled his boys, Young, Dumb, and Broke. Like, but he's one of our, me and Robbie, he's like one of our favorite people. He's a real good kid, real good up and coming kid.
Yeah, no, I love his whole gimmick, and the young, dumb, and broke thing is simply amazing.
Yeah,
you know, I think you and him could do an amazing match.
oh,
Like, you know, I think that that would be fire between you two.
yeah.
You know, but you know, so GCW, you know, run by Brett Lauderdale, you know, and obviously Nick Gage is over there, Ricky Shane Page. You know, what's the sort of plan for you moving forward with them? Do you think you'll be moving into the main event scene, or are you happy sort of just doing, you know, being with your boys in Blackout?
Yeah, like when it comes to GCW, man, it's like, you know, there's never really any plans over there. It's just, you know, things just go the way they go. So,
Just
you know,
roll with it.
that's kind of how I like things. So we'll just see how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What wrestling move do you love doing that you could do day in, day out? And what wrestling move do you actually just despise having to do?
Day in, day out, probably maybe the razzle dazzle, maybe the moonsault leg drop. Like, I can do those at, you know, drop of a dime pretty
Like
much.
that? Yep.
Moves I hate doing. I don't know if I really have any moves I don't like to do.
Is there any moves that suck to take?
Yeah.
Power bombs, brain busters.
Power
That's
bombs.
probably the only two moves I really don't like taking that much. And that's just because it depends on who's doing it, if you're gonna get hurt or not. So, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But high flying wise, I say maybe a space flying tiger drop. That's a pretty difficult one. So when I have to do that one, is like, you know, you really got to think about that. That's one.
It's for like the big match, end of a feud type of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you blow that, man, that sucks. that sucks. I blew that once. So it's not fun.
What do you think you'd be doing if you never got into wrestling?
I honestly don't know. Probably what I'm doing now with the computer stuff, maybe. But I really couldn't answer that question because I always just wrestled my whole life. So
yeah,
it's just always been something I did.
So, Ruckus, where can people find you if they want to get in contact with you? If they want to get in contact with Chocolate City Customs?
You can check me out on Facebook, pretty much. Like, you go over to the Chocolate City Customs page on Facebook, or you can just hit me up on my personal Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, you can reach out. I'm always willing to talk to anybody. And you can check us out on YouTube at Chocolate City Customs.
I definitely think that a lot of people will, you know, Ruckus. And look, I just want to thank you for coming on with us. It's been a great time chatting with you.
I appreciate it, man.
The first time for us to actually have a conversation, not over text, and it's been great, man. So, look, Ruckus, thanks for coming on. Guys,
appreciate it.
Yeah, we are going to be no, my pleasure at all. Guys, just want to do a quick mention again. Wrestling Review Society now on Instagram. You can follow them at Wrestling Review Society 1. And also their coming show this Wednesday night at 7 p.m., which will be Thursday, 11 a.m. for us. They will be interviewing Vampiro. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that one. So make sure that you tune in for that, guys. Also
on Facebook and Instagram. They're good buddies of ours. So we've helped them. They've helped us out heaps. So
Christy's show will be 2020 Wrestling. They'll be returning on Wednesday night Australian time at 9:30 for our Aussie fans. Ruckus, when is your next show that if anyone is local to you, they'll be able to go and see it?
Tomorrow night we'll be in Cambridge, Maryland for Drilling Championship Wrestling. And February 7th we'll be in New Jersey for H2O Wrestling.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, look, guys, we're going to end the show now. Ruckus, if you just want to hold on after we go offline, we'll just have a quick catch up. But, guys, thanks very much for coming on. Ruckus, thanks for joining us on the show, my man. It's been a pleasure having you.
No problem, brother.
Catch everyone later.
Bye.